you try to control all the variables that you can control.
Yeah.
And just like retying and making sure your line is fresh is one of those things that you're able to control.
Because you don't want to lose a fish because of...
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Because you got lazy and didn't feel like doing your tackle at 8 o'clock at night.
So how do you feel after today? You said...
I hold myself to high standards.
Yeah.
And so when I don't perform to those standards, I'm disappointed, or frustrated, because guys still caught them. So it's not like the entire lake just shut off. There was obviously a way to catch them, and I didn't figure that out.
Right.
But that's part of it. You lose way more than you win in this game. And I think that's the hardest part about it, is that it's way more mental than people that haven't done it realize.
So after a day like today, are you sharing that as much with your followers?
Yeah, because I want people to know what it really is. Like, I don't want to paint this into something that it's not.
Yeah.
There's, like, if there's a whole group of younger generation of kids that want to do this for a living, I want them to know that you have to make it through the lows. There's a lot of struggle before the triumph. If you're going to chase your dreams and do something, you have to also sacrifice something. And so I don't know what else I would do.
I'm Erick Baker, and I've spent my life crossing the Southeast on tour as a singer-songwriter. But I recently realized I was always headed to the next town instead of seeing the sights along the way. So I teamed up with my friend Ariel and Nicole to check out what we've been missing.
There's a place you've never been that's right where you want to be.
We hope to take you to places you never knew existed or where you've always dreamed of going.
Maybe it's just me, but the further I get into adulthood, the more pressure I feel to be a jack of all trades and struggle to find the time to be a master of just one. From performing as a musician, a businessman, a spouse and father, and still tackling the taxes, yard work, and home repairs that crop up in between, there just doesn't seem to be much room for mastery. And yet that's exactly what some of the best anglers in the world are lining up along the banks of the Tennessee River, which is managed by our very own Tennessee Valley Authority, to prove. Because this weekend, the 2019 Bassmaster Classic is coming to Knoxville. It's the elusive beasts that everyone's after this weekend. They don't look that smart to me.
Like, how did you guys choose Knoxville?
The fishery has really gotten good. They've stocked Florida bass in the Tennessee River lakes. And so we, everything came together, and the Visit Knoxville people have been just wonderful to work with.
Yep.
So it was an easy sell for us.
This is my hometown, man, so I'm so glad y'all are here. Impact is what I want to talk about. Like, what does this mean to Knoxville?
It's huge. It's huge. I mean, over the 4 days, it's going to be roughly over about $25 million of economic impact. But what's really important about this event for Knoxville is that it's going to keep on giving way after everyone leaves, because, it's exposed through their stream, through ESPN. It's exposed Knoxville to the world.
Yeah.
And so they might have been tuning in just to watch the fishing, but then they learn about Knoxville, and that's why they want to visit Knoxville. And they realize we've got so much to do here. And I mean, that's what really pays off for us.
Why do I want to visit Knoxville?
Because we have a little bit of everything. And I know a lot of people say, oh, a destination has to have that one big thing. But that's why Knoxville will surprise you, is because there are so many different things to do here. I mean, if you are into the whole outdoor scene, we've got the trails, the greenways, this whole urban wilderness thing that you can totally engage in.
Speaking of totally engaged, female angler Trait Zaldain is one of the only women to fish in the Bassmaster Open Tour circuit, meaning mastery for her is as much about big wins on the tour as it is about breaking through stereotypes.
I think if more women would start fishing, they'd realize that we actually have an advantage. The equipment stuff we've got to learn, just because as women we're not just given equipment normally. But aside from that, we have an intuition that goes right over men's head when it comes to fish and how they're relating stuff. All I care about is getting bit.
So how soon until you're fishing the Classic?
Hopefully next year, I mean, that's the goal, right?
That's right.
This is my office. This is what I do right here.
This is your office.
Yeah.
Freaking pretty sweet.
Yeah, I wouldn't
pretty
have it
sweet
any other
office,
way, right? You got this?
Right.
While the expo gave me a taste of what tour life is like, I knew the real action was out on the water. So the following morning, I practiced one of the skills I've gotten best at over the several seasons of this show, early call times. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. If I was a fish, I would be watching Netflix in the warmth of my fish nest. A while back, I read a quote that talked about how it's what you do in the dark that allows you to shine in the light. It immediately made me think of late night sound checks preparing for a show, or long sleepless nights comforting my colicky baby girl. But this morning, I'm reminded of the truth of that quote once again. Fishing isn't always sunny summer days spent with beverage in hand, at least not when you're angling for the title of Bassmaster. Like most things in life, mastery, even of the bass variety, is something that is hard won day after day. And in this case, year after year, anglers must first qualify through either the Bass Pro Shops Bassmaster Open or their performance in Bass Nation. Then there's the task of accumulating enough points throughout the season to make the cut for the Bassmaster Classic. It's essentially the world championship of bass fishing. And this year, that title comes with a $300,000 purse, a new truck, and a new bass boat. Since the stakes are so high, we're keeping a safe distance while we're out on the water. Luckily, one of the camera boats for tour angler Brandon Palaniuk let us step on board for a few minutes and talk us through the action in real time.
So that's we just witnessed heartbreak right there, right? Because did he miss one or he just got hung?
Oh, he buried that one.
And is it a matter of casting as much as you can?
It's covering water. I mean, all these females, like the female bass, are pulling up in these staging areas this time of year, so it's cover water and trying to find a little wad of them somewhere.
So then, like in the practice rounds and whatnot, that's the type of stuff that you're looking for.
It doesn't matter if it's 12 inches or a 5-6 pound largemouth. It's feeling that bite and fighting the fish. That's an addiction. So like when you catch one fish, that feeling you get. Well, it's like that whenever you catch every fish, and then when you catch like a 6-pounder, it's intensified, especially when you're knowing that you could possibly win some money with that fish.
Yeah, oh yeah.
In the Classic, it's a lot more intense.
Yeah.
There's a lot more money on the line.
A lot of pressure.
After a day on the water, anglers have a set time to report back to the boat ramp. And in Knoxville's case, they get to weigh in style. Volunteer style, that is, at the Thompson Bowling Arena. But rather than rush to my seat, I hung around to catch up with a couple of the anglers.
Caught a bunch after you guys left.
You did?
Yeah, I caught a 4-pounder too.
Did you go back to the same place, or did you? Did you change up anything, or did you just kind of stick to what you were doing?
I fished the same general area. I just spent more time in there, kind of hunkered down in there, and picked it apart a little bit more. It was a little bit more thorough.
Hey, we'll be watching you in there, and we'll be rooting you on.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, man. Good to see you.
Yeah.
As popular as Brandon and the YouTube channel that follows his tour progress may be, another familiar face popped up in the parade of bass boats. Local and Holston lover, Mr. Ott DeFoe.
Man, East Tennessee, we've got so many great lakes and we've got so many great rivers. I love our river systems. That's what I love to do, is fish in a river. And I actually live on the Holston, and that's what I love about it. I love that current. I love that the water moves all the time, and you've got a mix of smallmouth and largemouth both. A lot of places we go don't have that. They've got strictly largemouth or primarily just smallmouth. So having that mix of both species and having big ones of both species is what makes our places so very special.
The truth of the matter is, there's more to tournaments than catching fish and cash prizes. It's a catalyst for both economic growth and conservation. In 2018, the total economic impact of fishing in America came in at around $125 billion. And the excise tax on equipment and license sales sets aside almost $1 billion annually for state conservation and recreation programs. Just as the anglers put forth their best effort out on the water, a group effort between Bass Nation, the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency, and the Tennessee Valley Authority is underway behind the scenes. It may seem simple, but these folks are collaborating to ensure the fish caught as part of the tournament each day make it back into the water happy and healthy, so the residents and visitors of Knoxville can continue to catch them for years to come.
Anytime we're trying to handle the fish is to speed the process up, get them from the scales back to the trucks, and we want to try to get them back in the water as quickly as we can. You know, these fish are too valuable to only be caught once. They're recyclable. And so the whole concept of catch and release sort of started then. And we adopted that as part of our tournament procedures to make sure that we're bringing those fish back in the lake so somebody else can catch them. I love it. And when we come to a place like Knoxville, the people that live around here and that fish Fort Loudon and Tellico, those are their fish. They kind of have it's possessive, you know?
Right.
And we're
They want them back, right?
we're just going to borrow them for a few days.
But as interesting as things are behind the scenes, there's no denying that the main attraction is playing out in the arena. Final weigh-in. After hours of work and for many years of preparation, it'd be an understatement to say that the anticipation is high. But at this point, it all comes down to the scales. I know you. How are you, man?
Look how fancy you are.
Hey, thanks. Mr. Palaniuk. I gotta write your theme song. That's what I gotta do because you had a killer day today, right?
Best day I've had all week.
That's awesome.
There's a giant stadium full of people.
Yeah.
There's a stage, there's lights, there's music, and you get up there and people start screaming.
Well, and then you get the,
Oh gosh,
you know,
that's my
you're like,
favorite part.
oh, that's amazing. Well, dude, I hope you catch a whole lot more, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, best of luck to you. Thanks for hanging out with us, man.
I appreciate it.
And I'll see you on
Good
there.
time.
I'll keep working on that theme song for
It better
you.
be good.
It will be.
I want a
It'll
good
be
beat.
very mediocre. All right, yeah. I may make a lot of jokes, but winning the Classic is no laughing matter, especially for hometown angler Ott DeFoe. As I mentioned in the beginning, there are a lot of times when I feel spread thin by life, like I'm being pulled in different directions, and it's difficult to give any one thing the time and attention they deserve. It's not uncommon to want everything to go perfectly, to hope you play the song correctly on the first try, to aim to never be short or distracted with your children, to plan for life's ups and downs without ever being blindsided. It's not uncommon, but it is unrealistic. Because as Brandon said in the beginning, you're going to lose a lot more than you're going to win. Being a master isn't about being perfect. It's about being there when it's tough. It's about failing, working the problem, and having the courage to try again. And often, having the tools necessary means pulling from a host of experiences. So as I dust the confetti off my shoulders and give the Bassmasters of this weekend a well-earned congratulations, I walk away knowing that being a jack of all trades is actually setting us all up to be king when it counts.